Hey guys, it's the Phantom Ranger here, and I am back with the Family Experiment Part 3. This is the final part. Day 236. The screams have stopped after 45 hours. On the first 5 hours, we just screamed, "I'll get Dr. Shanton for you. Let me go. Let me go, or please just kill me. Just kill me. Just kill me. It hurts so much." It was always the same words, growing more desperate every time they were pronounced. The next 2,400 minutes, he could barely only babble incoherently and cry. Maya locked George's room from the outside and barricaded it, took all the food to her room, locked her door and made a second barricade. She scared, but trying so hard to focus. So hard. Day 237. I'm a mess. We're not supposed to keep a personal log here, but I need to report it. It's relevant to the experiment. Yesterday, after leaving work, Dr. Inov took his life. He had been quite disturbed by Reggie's screams. Obviously, we all were, but he was usually the colder one in the team. Today, shortly after hearing the terrible news, I found a brief letter in my pocket. It was signed by him. I used to think of myself as a brilliant man that could comprehend the human mind better than pretty much anyone. Maybe I am, but you know what? Joseph Mengele remembered for being a brilliant doctor that brought countless advice to medicine, despite it being thanks to his cruelty and willingness to perform experiments that cause awful suffering. No, he's remembered for being a Nazi. That's what he was. Above all, I, too, am in first place a monster. I hope there's no afterlife because I fear the punishment for passively watching the human mind fall apart. You were a good man when we met, Melvin. I hope you still find this man inside you. Andrew. Day 1028. She's still here. Once again, after Andrew Inov's suicide, we researchers begged to end this madness, but the sponsors wouldn't hear of it, unless, of course, we were willing to pay for every penny we spent in this project, and in a substantial fine for breaking our contract. At least Maya never does anything out of the ordinary. She never went to George's room again, and after a respectful amount of days, she moved to the master room. She's been really good with the craft work. Her cooking skills improved. She now knows controversial Japanese and German, and even started working out. It haunts me how strong her will is. If Dr. Inov was here, he would joke about wanting to open her brain to study. I should feel thankful that my job now consists of watching a young woman live on her own until the end of times. But I can't stop thinking about everything that happened. I close my eyes to sleep and I see George's smashed head. I look at any woman can perfectly picture her scooping her eyes out. Every day, all the time. Day 1092. Now that Maya is of age and is working really hard, we decided to make her a nice surprise. She will live on her own forever, so we thought she might as well have a little fun alone. We let a few female pleasure supplies at the grocery room. I swear to God we weren't trying to gross or watch her in a creepy way. During the experiment we all heard all the 4 members of the family masturbating and the parents having sex. Since these experiments were disgusting and we were more than happy to know they always did it under the sheets. When she went to the grocery room and saw the dildo and things of the sort, she laughed for a whole hour. A literal whole hour. Her face was red, her hair was messy, and she was tearing up. Her legs were shaking so hard that I thought I was genuinely afraid Maya was going to burst. "Guys," she yelled, clearly addressing us. "You know what? I lived all these awful days without complaining or freaking out. I took care of my good-for-nothing parents. I fixed my brother's damn amputated hand. It was gross, so gross." She paused wholeheartedly and laughed a little more. "I learned fucking Japanese and fucking woodwork, and I was good at it. Things I have no interest at all, just to keep myself sane." She repeated the last phrase 103 times. "This is a clear dissociate episode," the new psychiatrist in my team remarked. "I currently know him for way more time than I knew Inov. But I refuse to learn his name. I refuse to acknowledge his existence. He's just an annoying voice to me. I can't handle feeling like shit again when he eventually jumps off a bridge. But you're never letting me out. Never. I'll never date someone. I'll never marry. I'll never go to college. I'll never do anything but a creepy show for you guys. So you know what? Let's make it creepy. Let's make it creepy as fuck." Day 1093. We broke her. We broke Maya, someone I grew to admire and even feel affection towards, and we did it by trying to be nice. She's masturbating non-stop, so she's trying to break her body too, now that her mind is shattered. Today, Maya Smith stood motionless in her bed, still with her dress lifted up and no underwear. The first thing I felt was relief because the family experiment was finally over. I said the assistants could go home and the new guy and I decided we could go in and fetch her lifeless body. I turned off all of our equipment, smiling for the first time in over 3 years. The new guy leaned over her to check if she was actually dead. She wasn't. You see, Maya Smith developed a bold plan to escape. She started to craft a wooden knife in plain sight. If no one reprimanded her, she knew she could count on at least one of the watchers. This watcher was me. I've been watching her alone, since our new guy sucks and barely does his job, and the assistants are only required when I need to take notes or keep track of multiple scenes at the same time. Maya was counting on the fact that the researchers had to be bored as her by now, and that we were probably being pressed into keeping the study going. As soon as he leaned over the body, Maya quickly stabbed the new guy in the belly as he approached her body. He coughed up a lot of blood. I ran in his direction to help him and whoops, let the subject go by mistake. The cameras were off and no one else from the project was in the building. The security guards didn't know her. She was free. She was free and sane after putting on a very convincing show. This was the first time I was able to properly breathe since the family experiment started. There are many reasons why I'm writing this suicide letter. First of all, I wanted to let someone know about this vicious experiment. In second place, I know they will get me for letting her get away. They can't prove I did it on purpose, but they'll know. They'll always know. I decided to help Maya after I made up my mind about the suicide. My sons are both adults and forgetful of their old father these days. My wife died a few years ago prior to the project. I'm fine knowing I'll barely be missed. She, on the other hand, is so young and determined to keep living. How could I deny her that, and just let my own death go to waste? The third reason is, as you know, I'm Dr. Shanton, the one brown evil presence in the closet has been claiming. I love you, son. Please don't blame yourself for not giving this old man more attention. I know you thought I was doing better than ever, and nothing you could do would avoid my death. I wrote a whole different letter for your brother David, because I think he's better off not knowing. For your own safety, please keep everything a secret. I'm sorry to burden you with the truth about the last years of my life. I just have one last favor to ask you. If a woman named Maya Smith ever looks for you, please help her with whatever she needs. You'll be helping your old father. Love, Melvin Shanton, aka Dad. November 20th, 2013. This week, my older brother Saul was diagnosed with terminal cancer. He asked to talk privately to me and decided to tell me his last secret. He got a very different suicide letter from my father back in 2013, entirely transcribed above. I'm David, and I've been married to a woman I love with all my heart since 2015. Her maiden name is Maya Smith. Okay, so that was Family Experiment Part 3. That was the final part. It's written by Polonium Poisoning. I really hope you guys enjoyed this series as I did as well. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that like and subscribe, that would be helpful. And the original story will be linked in the description. Thank everyone for listening in.